motion to approve the minutes for the school committee meeting of March 4th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? None, all in favor? I'll turn it over to Dr. Meyer for the ceremony, awards.
All right, so we're doing our celebrations for student and staff of the month. So we'll start at the elementary school with Principal Sylvia. You guys have a little wager going on who's going first?
Sure. All right, we will start with our student of the month. So I'm not Scarlett. Scarlett Rearick is a 4th grade student at our school, and she was nominated as our student of the month. She was recognized for her leadership in the classroom and across the entire grade level. She is helpful and accepting to everyone according to the teachers that nominated her. She is a great student that takes pride in her work and in herself. There have been several examples of Scarlett's leadership this year, but one that really stood out throughout all of her nominations is how she helped one of her classmates who was in a wheelchair navigate the building and feel included with all students this year. He stated how special it made him feel that he made sure that he was always included. One day, while I was in the hallway saying goodbye to the students at dismissal, Scarlett pulled me aside and said, "Did anyone make cards for the custodians to thank them for the work they do when we are practicing acts of kindness in our school?" To me, that just sums up the kind of student Scarlett is and how she is always making sure everyone feels valued, seen, and heard. Scarlett, these characteristics that others are seeing in you, many grown-ups don't even have. So keep being you and carrying yourself the way that you do. The world definitely needs more examples like you. Thank you for your leadership at school. She asked me if she could say something.
About the janitor thing, I also want to thank my friend Fiona, because last year when we were doing the card thing, I saw the janitor and I asked if he had any cards. He said no. So when me and my friend Fiona got to our classroom, we immediately started to make cards for the janitor. Then we ran through the whole entire school twice, found him, and gave him our cards, and we're planning to do it this year too.
We'll get a picture first.
Oh, sorry. 1, 2, 3. Now you're going to shake all these important people's
We do
hands.
that too. Put that in the same hand as that.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good job.
Good job, Scott. Thank you. And next, we're going to honor Mrs. Cranston. She is our arts teacher. Elise was recognized by colleagues as a positive asset to Clinton Elementary School. She always has a positive, warm, and friendly hello for everyone in the hallway, both staff and students. One teacher wrote, "She sees many students at Clinton Elementary School, and based on the feedback from the children, they all have so many things to say about art in a positive way, and you can see that they see themselves as creative students due to the growth mindset that Elise instilled in them." Students reported that they appreciate the time that Mrs. Cranston takes to prepare for their lessons because she makes cool videos, in your words, and they like how she really listens to them as artists. When our students notice the time and effort a teacher puts in, that is definitely worth the recognition. One student said, "Even if I'm not really good at art, Mrs. Cranston makes me feel like I am a real artist. It's like I can't mess up in her class." One student said, "I really like art because it's really easy to pay attention in Mrs. Cranston's class, and it's not that easy in my other classes." Her colleagues say to watch Mrs. Cranston teach is like magic. Her classroom is structured in a way that all students succeed. Based on these nominations from staff and students, Mrs. Cranston's unwavering dedication and passion, we are pleased to honor her tonight. All right.
Yeah.
Thank
Here's
you.
your lunchbox.
Awesome. That's like a snack box.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, and now we'll call Principal Montana for the middle school.
Yeah.
And Assistant Principal City back.
All right, we will start with our staff member of the month, Erin. I know you love this. So we are thrilled to announce Erin O'Toole as the CMS staff member of the month. Since joining our team in January as the therapeutic learning classroom teacher, Erin has made an exceptional impact on our school community. Erin seamlessly transitioned into her role, demonstrating outstanding organizational skills and a deep commitment to supporting our students. Her dedication to creating a nurturing and supportive environment for our students is commendable. With a wealth of experience in her field, Erin brings invaluable expertise to our team. Her passion for education and unwavering dedication to student success are evident in everything that she does. We're very grateful for her contributions to our school and confident that she will continue to positively impact our students' lives. So please join me in congratulating Erin.
There you go, yeah.
Come on, Mr. C, get in there. Team sport here.
You got it.
You got it.
Okay, so this month we are thrilled to announce not one, but two outstanding students of the month, Jack Wilson and Callie Lutz. In 8th grade, Jack shines as a model student. His dedication to academics is evident as he diligently keeps up with all of his classwork, even balancing his middle school coursework with a challenging high school geometry class. Despite his involvement in after-school sports, Jack maintains a strong focus on his studies, consistently demonstrating participation in class and showing politeness and respect to his teachers and peers. So congratulations.
Congratulations, Sharon.
So meanwhile, in 7th grade, Callie is making waves with her hard work and enthusiasm. Her commitment to academic excellence is evident through her punctuality in completing homework and classwork, active participation in class discussions, and her willingness to seek clarification when needed. Callie's respectful demeanor towards teachers and peers, coupled with her collaborative nature, makes her a valuable asset to her classmates and teachers alike. Congrats.
Put your certificates out and get a nice picture. There we go.
One, two, three.
There we go. All right, and Principal Cermak for the high school.
Somebody's got to be last, Scott. Just right under the bus. Just throw it out there, that's all.
Thank you. We have our March staff member nominated by another staff member. His name is Miles Crussell. He's a paraprofessional here at Clinton High School. It says, Mr. Crussell is adored by the staff and students alike. He attends sporting events to support the students, has friendly conversations with the students, and he loves to offer his life-learned wisdom to all. He truly is an asset to CHS. Miles Crussell.
Thank you. I just want to say, if I can, I want to thank Mr. Cermak and the rest of the staff at the school for making me feel welcomed and comfortable and encouraging me to participate.
They'll shake your hand too if you...
Thank you so much. Thank you.
By the way, Mr. Crussell has a wealth of knowledge on baseball. You want to get on the subject? You got 2 minutes to go. Thank you, Mr. Kressel.
Thank you.
Our March student, I don't believe she is here, Maria Ferreira Godcalls, a self-described poet. Maria loves learning and hopes to study psychology in college. She has faced the challenges of transitioning to high school with emerging language skills, with unmatched fortitude that has led to hard-earned success in an English 9 class. In just a few months, the teacher has observed immense growth in Maria's speaking, listening, reading, and writing skills in English through her consistent effort and engagement in all parts of the class. Maria not only follows every word spoken by teachers and students in class through a translator application, but she participates and shares her ideas through that technology as well. Recently, she has started to volunteer and share her ideas in class verbally, a courageous risk for any teenager, but especially for a student learning English. At the start of each week, students have the chance to share about their weekend, and Maria told us that she was trying to read for an hour each weekend in English. She recently showed her teacher 2 notebooks that she keeps while she is reading. One to write down and translate words she doesn't know into Portuguese, and the other is to write summaries of each of the stories that she has read. The motivation is a light in our classroom, and we can't wait to see what Maria's continued success at CHS and beyond.
All right, that's it. Yep.
We're going to carry on with the rest of the meeting, but you feel free to leave.
Bernie, you throwing us out, did you say?
No, I'd like to say it was a good opportunity for pictures in the hallway.
There's a nicer way to say it.
I've heard her name from my great, so we definitely are
See what you choose.
That's as soon as I unlock it. I double check this. Double check this. You're here for an award, right? Or something. There you go.
I thought I had everything covered.
Congratulations. Welcome to the team. Thank you.
Is there anyone here for public comment? Student of the month?
Student rep.
Student rep, I'm sorry. I haven't seen you in so many months, you know.
All right, I'm working.
How are you guys
Good,
tonight?
what's going on?
So, I am one of the at-large representatives for the student council. This means I represent the student council in its entirety. And we had a busy month. The executive board for the student council attended the annual Massachusetts Association of Student Councils conference for the first time. And this conference has been run out of Hyannis, Massachusetts for the last 47 years. The executive board took part in the polar plunge in support of the Special Olympics, attended many leadership workshops, heard from motivational speakers, and got to learn from other student councils from around the state. It was a lot of fun, they learned a lot, and they're so excited to bring their ideas back with them to the CHS community. The Student Council also hosted the second blood drive of the year on March 14th. Rhode Island Blood Center collected 48 units. Each unit collected can help or save 3 people. Our spring drive will go on to help at least 144 people. Thank you to all who donated and to the Rhode Island Blood Center for being a great partner. They also wanted me to mention to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, X or Twitter, and now TikTok, as well as check out our new website for the most up-to-date news and information. Thank you from the Clinton High School Student Council.
Thank you.
Thank you.
CTA.
The health insurance update is that it's a continuing saga. And in a more positive note, we noticed that Dr. Meyer attended family PTA bingo night, which was a huge success at the middle school. So, nothing else to report tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
PTA.
I don't know, she took my thunder.
We are glad to report we are now up to 88 members. We've actually had a growth every month. We are recruiting new members. It's great. That's actually a high increase from last year. We had a total of 26 members, so we've done pretty good getting ourselves out there. A huge thank you for all the support on our second annual Family Bingo Night. We were actually able to raise $7,300 in total between sponsors, the grade challenge, and the actual event. And of course that goes back into the schools with the trips. We have some plans for Teacher Appreciation Week, all the things. And a huge thank you to our celebrity callers, some of which are in attendance tonight. We have our 2024 scholarships for CHS seniors still available, open through the 30th of this month. Just want to make it noted that the multicultural event on the 23rd is an available event for seniors to give volunteer hours to the PTA that can be used to meet the criteria for the scholarship. That would be the last event before the closing, so we just want to make that noted. Our next meeting is April 4th. We just want to note that there's a change of location to the library due to the awesomeness that's going on in the cafeteria and gymnasium for the 4th grade extravaganza. Prior to the meeting, I'm actually going to be giving the volunteer training that's required for volunteers to participate at the elementary school with the approval of Ms. Silvio. I'm doing that so parents can get prepped to be chaperones for the field trips if they haven't already attended one. We have a couple events coming up at CMS. That's going to be a busy month of April there. We've got a catalog fundraiser that's going to be an online only thing coming out April 8th, as well as the end of the month, their Scholastic Spring Book Fair. And then in May, upcoming events, we have the elementary school book fair and teacher appreciation. So that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, CPAC. LPAC. Your favorite, the soccer, please. So, after, and I know it was 2 meetings ago. First of all, no, I appreciate your patience. I went through Steve, and we had a contact through the town attorney to kind of get some guidance. So she recommended not only looking at our policy letters, but also the town zoning laws. So the town zoning laws prohibit anyone from putting any signs on town property. And so I met with the building inspector who kind of enforces that along with the facilities, and we kind of discussed it. And I have it here, but it spells it right out. Nobody can put any signs up. But when I talked to him, and I will open it up to the rest of the board and then propose a motion, but I think the intent of it is, so when you're up there, and I don't know, you're reserving the field for a game, okay? You can have temporary signs, lawn signs, or sandwich boards, or something you hang up, much like people that stand out at the depot with political signs, but then when you leave, you'd have to take them with you. So they can't stay up permanent, but you could leave them up during the games. So you'd show who's endorsing or sponsoring your thing, but it wouldn't be like the school or the town was, and that affects all the town things. So I don't know if anyone else has anything, or if you have any questions. Steve, if you want to, anything.
No, I'd say that's pretty much accurate. We sent it to our attorney, and then the attorney was the one that said that we should double check with the building person. So I know in your head you might be sitting there going, hasn't this been done in other places? And it probably has, but I'm just saying for right now, I know that that's the letter of the law is what it's supposed to be, and I do think, like I said, it's a little bit trickier here maybe than say like Vale Street or something like that, because it is a place that it's a little more compulsory. It's a place where students have to come during the school day. So I think probably the best way to do it would be maybe if we tried it this year with either having it so they were just signs you stick in the ground, or even signs that you like, put carabiners on and clip to the fence for like, yeah. And I don't know, I don't think, like, if you have games Saturday and Sunday and you leave them up overnight or something like that, like, I don't think that's gonna be a big deal, but it'd be more like during the week or whatever like that when it's appropriate.
So from the board, I'd like to ask for a motion to allow you guys to put them up, just as you said, during the game itself, and then just take them down afterward and then put it back up. It's much like I said, somebody, bringing a sign of their own, holding their hand, it's the same thing.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Appreciate
Thanks for your
your time,
patience waiting
yeah.
a month.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep. All right, Dr. Meyer.
All right, so we're going to start today off with a technology update. We have our technology director, Mr. DeHaan, here tonight to go over his. We always try to put in the strategic plan section, which we're obviously in the process of updating. And a lot of this got blown out of the water when COVID came, because it went from, trying to phase in one-to-one to all of a sudden we were doing it in a year. So we've pretty much done everything you'd say is in that technology for the strategic plan. And then as far as what else we got going on, I'll turn it over to Mr. DeHaan.
Hello. Hi. Happy Monday. So I think it's included in your packet, but I just wanted to touch first upon, we are officially going to be in MCAS season starting tomorrow. So online assessments MCAS begins tomorrow at the high school, tomorrow morning, and then followed by the middle school and the elementary school, which start the week after, and then the week after that. So I think there's 23 or 24 days of testing spread throughout the 3 buildings, grades 3 through 8, and then grade 10, and then a mix of grade 11 depending on science. So I've been fortunate enough to be in a role like this where online testing and assessment kind of began maybe 10, 12 years ago, and it was an absolute train wreck. I mean, so many times I wanted to give my resignation, at the end of the day, just because we weren't ready, people that were providing the technology weren't ready, the assessments were junk, but, credit to the state, what you may think about the MCAS test, they've actually put a solid product that students are able to test with now. So I don't anticipate any issues. Our students too, they've been doing assessments all year long throughout the year, so they're very familiar with taking online assessments and tests on their Chromebooks. So also coming up in May, we have AP testing, and then we'll continue our iReady and STAR and M-Class building-based assessments through the end of trimester term 3, and then term 4 and trimester 3 at our middle school and elementary school. Some projects that I think I touched upon last time I was here, I believe it was October or November. We did complete a security camera system upgrade here at the high school. So we are in the process of getting bids to upgrade our system at the elementary school. So I'm hoping to get those bids by the end of this week. I don't know if I'm sure you guys have walked through the high school. You've seen some digital displays in the cafeteria, outside the main office. There's one down towards the gym. So those were put up in December and January. Our front office secretary at the high school, Julian Taro, does an unbelievable job every single day, keeping them up to date. The day's schedule, events that are going on, the lunch menu, breakfast menu for the days. It's displayed in all 3 languages. It's kind of a scrolling piece of art that goes throughout, and it's updated every single day. So she does a fantastic job keeping that up to date. We also are finalizing our projector installs here at the high school. So every single classroom will have a short throw projector. Will be the same throughout the entire building. So we have about 22 left in this building to complete. So that's currently going to be in progress. And we just ordered another 25 TouchView interactive panels for our elementary school. They're about 65 inches, and students can go up and do math equations and reading and play interactive educational games, of course. So Dave Derazinski, the building tech at the elementary school, actually showed me an awesome picture from last week of 2 or 3 kids up at the board and doing all sorts of neat and educational things on them. So, and I know Mrs. Silvio's thrilled to get them, and I know the teachers will be too. I also want to touch upon the digital landscape and documents and forms. So we are continuing to make progress. We actually had a demo last week. We have another one scheduled the week after. Just trying to minimize the, I need to take a day off, so I print it out, I fill it out, I hand it to the building secretary, and then she puts it inter-office mail to Dr. Meyer, and then to our HR, and it's a pretty cumbersome process when nowadays you should be able to go online and put in a sick day or a vacation day, a professional development day, a personal day, and you kind of just go in the order it needs to go in for approval and sign off. And, instead of having a stack of, paper this big at the end of the year with all your leave requests or tuition reimbursements or student forms, everything would kind of be digital and kind of housed in our digital repository. And a lot safer, I think, than, keeping it into, a box, cardboard box, and then kind of shoved in the back, for the years to come. So, summer plans, so we're going to continue our Chromebook refresh. So typically we do a Chromebook refresh for grades 5 and grade 9, so students entering the middle school, students entering the high school, we're going to bring the Chromebook. The thought is that they'll use that Chromebook for the next 4 years. And then we're also adding some for our elementary school as well. We are converting our special education module. Currently we use eSped. We're going to move to Infinite Campus. Infinite Campus is also our student information system, so keeping all of our special education documents and all of our student information all in one system, so teachers aren't going to one system and then another, depending on to gain information or knowledge of the students that they have. We're also moving to 100% online registration. So we've been doing preschool and kindergarten the last 2 years. So in July we're going to move it to 100% online for everybody else. So any parent or guardian that's looking to enroll their student can do so from the comfort of their old home. They can submit paperwork they need to, and digital, whether it's proof of residency or licenses and stuff like that, all that can be uploaded and done. Obviously, there's still going to be meet and greets. It's not 1,000, you're not going to online, enroll your student for September 1st and then they just show up without anybody meeting anybody. But a lot of that bulk information can be done ahead of time instead of, again, printing out the paper form, bringing back in the paper form, and doing all that stuff. And then lastly, we're looking to upgrade some of the AV. I know the lights were done this year in the high school auditorium. We're looking to upgrade the projector and a new screen. And then also at the middle school, I know it's obviously part of the MSBA project, so we're not looking to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, but maybe just a better screen. I held professional development in there last week, and something cheap that, if you have a gathering of 65, 70, 75 people, you're not looking at just like a little tiny little screen. Something that, everyone can see depending on where they are in the library. So stuff we're looking to do this summer.
Is it something we could repurpose, the screen, if we replaced it? Is that too big or too...
I think that the reason we're looking to replace it too is just because you have to be so gentle.
Yeah, okay.
Rolling it down and then rolling it back up because it's starting to tear and...
Yep. So it's just going to end up breaking again and we're going to do that again.
Probably, yeah. Any questions?
I have one more thing I want to go over while Chris is here. I gave you guys this paper. If you look on the one that says proprietary, the better sides, proprietary items vote. So we literally got feedback this afternoon from the MSBA that while the building committee and the permanent building committee voted to accept these proprietary items, that they asked that the school committee also vote to accept these as proprietary items. And the reason is because they want to make sure that the school committee basically endorses the fact that when you name something as a proprietary item, it means that you might not get the best price, right? Because we might be able to get network switches cheaper, or wireless access points cheaper than the Cisco Meraki access points, right? But the point is, these 4 things that we're looking at are things that integrate across the district. So what we're saying is, even if you get the cheapest version, it's probably not going to be the most effective because it's not going to necessarily integrate properly with everything else we've got going on. So the idea is just making sure that there's a vote, that the school committee understands that the building committee has recommended these to be proprietary, and that the school committee would say, yeah, that makes sense to us. So I don't know, Chris, if you want to just run through these 4 real quick and just sort of, I don't think I gave you a copy of it, but you went forward.
Yeah, I remember having the meeting.
We also had the consultant on during the building.
Yeah. So the only thing I would add too is, so we've done a number of upgrades over the last 4 years here in these schools. So, and with those upgrades, a lot of it's been through E-rate, which is a federal program. So with E-rate, they don't really just allow me or anyone else to say, hey, listen, I want this, and this is what I'm going to get. We actually have to go through the bidding process to do that. So, so for Extreme and Cisco, specifically those 2, That's all been upgraded in the 3 buildings over the last 4 years. The reason I feel like it's important to continue with those 2, specifically at the middle school, is because, one, it's familiar to us, right? We have it here, we used it, we've already gone through the bidding process, we've had multiple companies come in, we've gone through demonstrations, we've seen it all. But the other is what Dr. Meyer was referencing, is support. So if I need to look at the network at the high school, I log in. But I can also see the network at the elementary school and middle school, all from the same platform. I don't have to go into another system or another 2 systems to find it, to see the health of it. And the same goes for the other, we have, there's really 3 of us now. It's me, and then we have Dave at the elementary school and Brian at the middle school. So adding in another system into something that we've, again, replaced over the last 2 or 3 years doesn't make much sense to me, just throwing in another wrinkle. That's specifically for the extreme and for the system. The same thing is with the MyTel system. So if I need to manage a phone, whether it's at the central office, whether it's at the 3 schools, it's all from the same database. So again, familiarity and support. We're comfortable with it, we know it, and it's what's consistent throughout, again, not just the 3 main school buildings, but also the central office. All the phones are MyTel, the servers are MyTel. My fear is if we decide, okay, we're going to go with something else other than MyTel, and again, same thing with Cisco and Extreme, we pay little to no support costs for any of those 3. We have no outside consultants, we have no outside support. It's 100% managed by myself and our tech staff. We add in something else, even if we sign an SLA with X phone provider for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, eventually that's going to run out. I guess in the grand scheme, we hope we pick it up after 5 years, but maybe we don't. Or maybe it's not as good as what we've had before. So again, just centralizing our support, our knowledge. Again, not just for us, but even the staff as well, because they're used to using that system. And then the last, Verkada, so that's security system. That's what we just upgraded here at the high school. So again, we went through an open bidding process. We looked at Avigilon, GeoVision, ExactVision, and Access, and I put the post out on my listserv for other tech directors to see what they're going with. We spoke with our school resource officer, who went to conventions with other school resource officers to see what they were using in those schools. The clear winner for that was Verkada. So we just did it here at the high school. To me, it just makes sense to keep it consistent, with the new middle school.
So I guess the motion I need is something that looks like that this board feels that it is in the public's interest to pursue these sole proprietary items, or whatever, I guess I would do it as proprietary items, but that it's in the public best interest to do so.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
You're very excited with that. I don't want to cut you off.
I'm very passionate about it because, I don't think, I don't think any of this is the most expensive stuff.
Yeah.
But, it's not like I'm saying, hey, these are all Rolls Royce systems we put in, but also, it is frustrating at times because we do go through like all the correct processes of getting bids and getting quotes and getting demonstrations. I understand why they have to do it. Yeah. But at the same time, I do think it's in the best interest of this school district and the town to try to stay consistent as best we can, because when we're not consistent, it can cause all sorts of issues.
Second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, one last comment on that did come up when we voted before, is that we still will bid for the actual products. It's just when we set the specifications, it'll be more specific to that kind of brand, but there still might be different vendors that charge different prices for that brand, and we would try to get the best deal we can on that. The next topic is facilities update. Brian Farrier couldn't make it tonight, the Director of Facilities. He did provide a written report for you. I don't plan on really going over the whole thing line by line. You could read it, certainly we can get questions to him. I think the main thing, why do we normally have him this time of year? Because we want to sort of see how his needs and our needs and the budget and everything else for next year are really coming together. And I'd say the main thing is that, I know from talking to him and looking at this, is that he feels he's fully staffed. They've actually been able to, in the last few years, we have had a couple sort of lingering type of like workers' comp type issues that have now been resolved, so he's able to fully refill those positions. So that's good for him, but they're not really new positions, and they're kind of filled on a more temporary basis. He's able to get those back. We're not looking at any real specific, I don't believe he's looking at any warrant articles that would be, for FY25 coming up. Everyone knows that really the main ask at that town meeting coming up is the building project, and that's plenty. So that was about it. I do think that, Mr. Farragut and I do try to meet and go through these, so I know that he's at various stages on all of them. None of them are really, sometimes these projects, it seems like they approved a year ago and what happened to them, but things do take time to spec them out and order and get done, so a lot of them are in process. So I don't know if you guys have any specific questions on anything in his report, or we can always, if you get them to me, I can connect him and have him come to another meeting.
Just one today and
Okay. All right, FY25 budget. So in your packet, you will find something that's labeled the Student Opportunity Act Plan Draft 3/4/24. That's the one we presented at the last meeting as the public comment hearing. There was no public comment. What I would be looking for is a vote to approve this Student Opportunity Act plan so that we can submit it to the state by the April 1st deadline. This is the third time we've seen it, so.
Motion to approve the FOA plan.
Second. Discussion, questions? All in favor?
All right, thank you. Next we bring up budget version B. Kind of gave you a cheat sheet on the changes. We went through and met with each of the principals, Annette and I, and also had Chris at all those meetings. We made some changes. One of them was looking at going back to how do we really support the special education in the district, looking at kind of adding the special education coordinator that was removed in version A back into place. What that would allow us to do is right now one of our school psychologist positions ends up sort of being kind of split into sort of like a quasi-admin, quasi-school psych position, so it puts an extra drain on the school psych caseload. So by adding this coordinator position, it would allow hopefully that school psychologist to be a true school psychologist, and then hopefully what we would probably be able to do with that is kind of look at some caseloads where we'd probably have the school psychologists even working down a grade in each building, so it really they were helping to test for those students who were incoming into the new building that next year, since it'd be a three-year eval. With that, we said that we were prioritizing that position over the director of curriculum instruction, so I took that one out. Increased some of the salary assistance degree changes based on just some hiring, some new changes, new hiring adjustments, contractual language. Building security upgrades. So a lot of what we did for a lot of these other things is we looked at our existing FY24 budget and we looked at what are some things that we could maybe do now. So for example, building security upgrades. We had some money remaining in the building security upgrades line item this year. So Chris was able to move forward and kind of get the next phase of the elementary school security done now, as opposed to wait until next fiscal year. Network and telecommunication salaries, we looked at trying to add back additional tech specialists because we are still moving forward with a lot of the technology changes. We want to maintain those. Sick leave buyback, we dropped that to reflect the projected FY25 retirees. We'll be able to pay off the FY24 retirees with FY24 money. And then we do a survey asking people to project when they're going to retire for 3 years. So that 66,000 matches our anticipated obligation in FY25. Collaborative tuition just went up a little bit, but we know our collaborative, so 4.69 is a rate set by the state for private schools. I'm on the board for the Keystone Collaborative, and Keystone's Collaborative, actually, it's going to be an average of 5.3%, so we made some adjustments there. And then when you get by school, same idea. What we realized is that what essentially we've been doing the last couple of years is, there was 1 year, a couple of years ago, I think, that Chris was able to get a grant for us for Chromebooks. It was coming right out of, and so what ended up happening was we were able to order those Chromebooks, and that with the grant, even though they were already in the next year's budget. So then in the next year, we ordered kind of like the Chromebooks for the next year, right? So we kind of been chasing it ahead, but we haven't been really taking it out of the budget because we don't really, because we know eventually that's going to be a sustainable year-to-year item that we need. But I think for next year, given the landscape of how the SLA kicked in and how we anticipate it'll go the next year, we're looking to drop that out of next year's budget and order them now. So that's what you'll see most of these differences are. You know, there was 70, like for example, at Clinton High School, there was $71,420 in budget version A. We're dropping that to $18,920. That's a $52,500 difference. That $52,500 is what we're going to spend for the refresh cycle for new Chromebooks for the like a third of the staff and the freshmen, right? We're still going to do that. We're ordering with FY24 money right now, which is actually better because what it allows us to do is allows us to get them in now, which A, we beat the rush of everyone ordering, so we actually get them in on time, and two, we'll have actual summer help that comes in. There's usually college students that are able to come in around May. So they'll begin actually configuring and labeling and getting those Chromebooks ready from May and June. So we'll be ready to go. And then same idea with some of the different things, projectors, like, you know, we're working on a cycle, and now we have some money left in FY24, we can move forward with that cycle. And it's not like it's deferred, we're ordering them now, and we're gonna put them in as soon as we get them in, so. Some other things in there, furniture, fixtures, some of that stuff, same idea. It might have been some, you know, put in for different chairs or desks or something like that might have been put in the budget last year that to this point haven't been ordered. So we've looked at it and said, well, order them, if you need those chairs or desks, order them on this year's budget, and we're gonna take them out of next year's budget. And that's what most of that is. So really, besides some of the positions up top, there really weren't a lot of like cuts to this budget. It was basically looking at how can we maximize our unencumbered FY24 funds in the same line items to begin pre-ordering for next year. So what we ended up doing, we ended up reducing about $198,000 from budget version A to version B. So where that leaves us right now, and then following that is the line item. You can go through the line item by line if you want. But the summary at the end shows us that right now we are at we're looking at $284,705 is the increase in what I'm calling local contribution. That's breaking out the Chapter 78, right? So really it's 1.345 million, right? But 1,060,000 is coming from Chapter 70. The other 284,000 would be basically from other funds from the town, whether that's the regular taxes, excise tax, Medicaid, any other source of funding that they have, free cash. So that's where we stand right now. I think this is the budget that I would like to present at this point because I do know, if we flip one last page, you'll see there's a letter here that says avoiding the fiscal cliff, fixing the inflation calculation. This continues to gain steam in terms of the superintendents and the state associations really clamoring for the House and the Senate versions of the budget to really try to look at that inflation number that they use in Chapter 70. I think the next version that we're going to get is, I tried to ask what day we're going to get the next number, and I think I was told around April 10th. So what I'd like to do is, right now we're scheduled for April 3rd to present what we have right now to the Finance Committee. I'm comfortable presenting this to them, and then we'll get their feedback on it. April 8th, is our public hearing. So it's a regular school committee meeting, public hearing, just in case anyone else has specific comments for us. That's usually more of a educational concern or anything if they did. And then hopefully April 10th, we get the next round of funding, and we'll get a sense of what happened to Chapter 70. Chapter 70 went up, went down, stayed the same. And then I think then our job would be, we see what did Chapter 70 do, what's our feedback from the FinCom, and then we can make any final changes at that point to make sure that we are all making a responsible budget for the town. So that's,
So do you need us to vote on this, or is it just kind of a head nod thing?
yeah, if you guys are okay with this is the current version that we're gonna present to FinCom, because it's not our final one yet, so we don't need it like voted to be approved. If you guys are okay with that. If you had any major questions or concerns on it, you can let me know, but.
Just have a question.
Yeah.
Steve. I haven't been around for
Yeah.
a few years, but in the past couple of years, has the school department kept its increase strictly to local, Chapter 78, and didn't increase
Above that.
above that?
In fact, I think last year we went less than because we even accounted for the fact that we knew they would need some of that increase for health insurance costs because we are adding a fair number of positions between ESSER and substitute. So it's been a few years since we've asked for anything beyond Chapter 70, and I know at least one of those years we've asked for less than the Chapter 70.
And during my past experience, we always asked for more.
Yeah. And that is the norm. We're living in with the Student Opportunity Act and the ESSER funding and all that, we're living in a crazy time. So, but we're transitioning out of that. We just want to make sure we're trying to do it responsibly, and I think we're okay right now. And there are a lot of districts that are in a lot of trouble, and I think that's why, I think there is a chance that in the next round of the budget, even if it's not fully accounted for, there might be a little courtesy tick up in Chapter 70 to try to help some of these school districts that are really in trouble. And that could make it so that we're right on target, so. Yep, and then I just talked about those other dates. I still got to confirm the time on the 3rd. I'll talk to Annette so we make sure, and I'll get that information out to you guys. That's usually at the Selectmen Chambers, and we just kind of go over that. We'll probably share the most updated information on the middle school for a warrant article too at the same time. And then so we have our public hearing on the 8th, which is our next school committee meeting. We normally do that 15 minutes before the meeting, so we start at 6:45, and there's usually not many people here. We only sit around for 15 minutes, but we do it. I think we already have the posted vote in the paper if we have to. All right. The next topic is the calendar for 24-25. We'd already shared a draft of this, tried to get some feedback on the days off. The only thing it didn't have was the half days, so we went through and added some half days as the admin team based on sort of tradition where we had them and where we feel we need them. So at this point, I think we've asked for a motion to approve the 24-25 school calendar, and it's just like many other districts. We're going with the full 2 weeks off for Christmas this year because it's the Wednesday.
I just want to say, speaking for a kid that's a senior in high school, they're not happy.
Because they're missing out on that.
They had no snow days this year.
They had one.
They don't make up snow days, and they said, they're not happy with you. And then they get 2 weeks off for Christmas next year.
Yeah.
Class of 24, not a fan.
Do you vote on that?
Yeah, if you guys want to go through.
Motion to approve the calendar as presented.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
What is the first day of Tuesday? Just because it's not, is the Tuesday after?
It's usually Tuesday after we start.
All right.
So we'll have to add that on there, sorry. Because they're not,
It's color-coded at the bottom?
I know, they're not bound to the 180-day requirement like the other ones are, so we're able to kind of
They are
fluctuate
the
on
most
those.
paranoid parents.
Okay.
Trust me, because we're gonna start getting like bombarded.
We'll update that. We'll try to make sure we reach out to Megan and we'll get those dates on there to put on the website.
Appreciate it.
All right. The building project update. There's an agenda here. We did have a meeting on March 20th with the MSBA. Really, they're looking at the the next steps. It was really a big part of it was talking about the scope and budget, and then really talking about transitioning to what happens next, which is essentially just building the building if it gets approved. So it's a different sort of team you work with. You work with the team that's more in charge of kind of the construction side of things at the MSBA if we get to that module 6, 7, and 8. So some things that came from that meeting. So they are scheduled to vote on April 24th, 2024. At that time, they would set basically our maximum grant amount. As of right now, our reimbursement percentage is going to be based on 78.24%, but that's based on reimbursable expenses and limited by cost per square foot caps. So it's one of those sort of caveats, right? So it's not a straight 78.24. Their figures, when the MSBA, and this is part of what we did at that meeting, they walked us through what they thought was allowable and not allowable. They're saying they came up with a maximum grant of $77,051,786, which would effectively cover about 55% of the project, leaving a local share of $62,468,762, about 45. So it's a little higher than probably what we have listed in this because there was a little bit of square footage. Let me see what we got in here. We listed 61.3 here and 62.4, so it's about an extra million or so there. Then that was basically based on, there was some square footage that they deemed we were over on in some of the classroom areas. So it was like 1,000 square feet roughly that was deemed not reimbursable. And then but the other part of this too that we'll bring up probably in our next round of sort of updating when we do this is we have figured out some more about the federal grants that were passed. Well, it's not ARPA, it's the other one. What was it called? The most recent, the ones with the recent energy grants. But it was anyway, we were projecting that we might be able to get about $2.5 million in grants, and we weren't quite sure, but it's looking more and more like going with the geothermal and everything that we probably would get close to that. So we do still think that even though that MSBA number went up, we're trusting sort of those grant numbers a little bit more, which we think will kind of keep it still around that 60 million figure when you're all said and done. So that would be, we'll continue to work on that as we get. And even, like I said, even today, they're still kind of reviewing all of this stuff. And this number won't be official until the Board of Directors votes on the 24th of April. Yep. And then and then after that, then that's when we would really have sort of the final, we could put together that this is legitimately 100% what the vote would read. That's the other thing we got during this. We got the vote language that's actually in here. A little bulletin on how does the warrant have to read, how does the ballot have to read, those types of things. So we can start getting that together because that is important. I did work in a town once where we had to read votes because they did not like the wording of the original votes. So that was a hold your breath moment because everyone's relieved you got to pass, and then so that's where we are on that. And we did give you a copy. I know you guys got this brochure the last time. I gave you another copy of this, and so we'll continue to keep updating this. We also are trying to update the website so it's a little more user friendly, so that a lot of the building website, so that hopefully once they kind of have this April session and we're able to really start directing people there if they have questions, that it really hits you with the key information up front. Right now it's kind of built almost more as like a record keeping of our minutes and agendas and that kind of stuff. But we'll keep that there, but we kind of put that a little behind the scenes so when you go you see the important stuff right away. Any questions on the project right now? All right. Principal search update. So publicly, I don't remember exactly what we've shared, but I know that we had a search committee The search committee forwarded 3 candidates to me for second interviews. One of those candidates withdrew, so we conducted 2 second interviews. Following the second interviews, one of the other candidates withdrew, so we were left with 1 candidate. I reached back out to the search committee to ask them how comfortable they were with that candidate, starting to get feedback to see, kind of what their thoughts were. Overwhelmingly, the search committee was hoping that I would proceed with that candidate. And I was impressed with the candidate when we met during the second interviews, so I was comfortable with that. We did our reference checks, and we held a kind of day in the district on March 19th, where the candidate came in, met students, met teachers, stayed after school for kind of like a little faculty meeting, had some meetings with the instructional leadership team or the guidance team. So we did, at this point, I did offer the position to Tyler Steffi, and he has accepted pending successful contract negotiations. So, which there is an executive session on this agenda, so we can talk about that. So Tyler Steffi is currently the interim principal for Wayland Middle School. Before this year, he spent 5 years as assistant principal at Concord Middle School. He has his undergraduate degree in Spanish with a minor in education from Bowdoin College. He has a master's degree in school leadership from the Harvard Graduate School of Education. Mr. Steffi is fluent in Spanish. He's been part of Teach for America in Rio Grande City, Texas, and has been assistant director of the school for El Colegio de St. Joseph Mary in Uruguay. So he's got a lot of, you're smiling at me like I've really butchered that pronunciation.
It sounded good to me.
Pam's ready to correct me. So I think Tyler brings a great background. I think the staff, I did a feedback with the staff too, following the district, where they could share, and it was overwhelmingly positive, even sharing from both what their experiences and from what they heard from their kids. So hopefully we can get a contract done, and hopefully probably the next meeting or so we'll have him here to meet you. But we'll talk a little bit about that in a few minutes. And then I guess the last thing I have is solar eclipse. The solar eclipse is April 8th. I put a little page in here. Part of the interesting thing about it is the solar eclipse is supposed to run from about 2:10 to 4:30. It's going to be a partial solar eclipse here, but pretty close. I think we're like in the 95% coverage area, something like that. If you start seeing on the news or anything like that, there's people, and I know right now there's a bunch of superintendents and stuff that are starting to freak out about it and everything, but a while ago we went and ordered some of these, the eclipse glasses for everybody. So we have them for every single student and staff member. So we're going to give those out on that Monday, so that students have them, particularly for dismissal, because that is one of the things that a lot of the superintendents are starting to get concerned about, is that you could have almost at the peak of the eclipse, you could have your elementary kids on the bus, right? And it shouldn't be so dark it's dangerous, right? It's not we go to, our buses run in the dark all the time, but but it should be that you just don't want the kids just kind of staring at the sun saying what's going on when they really shouldn't be doing that. So we'll have a sort of an informational sheet and solar eclipse glasses that we will give to everyone on that day. And I think I just saw something from the MIA that they're looking at doing some things with scheduling of sports and stuff on that day too. So, but that's coming up on April 8th, our next meeting. So, yeah, it'll be over by then. I don't think we had any advisory committees.
No, the only one I was thinking, I didn't put the copy of the policy letters we have on advertising on school property. Change that to.
Oh, add that to maybe update that policy to reflect the other code? Okay.
Up their code, yeah.
Okay.
And they already covered facilities, negotiations were good. Under old business?
New business?
At this point, the school committee is going to adjourn and go into executive session under Chapter 30 Alpha, Section 23, or 21, I don't like glasses, Mass General Law, open meeting law, trying here. Open meeting law, committee will enter an executive session to discuss strategy with respect to non-union personnel. Committee will not reconvene. Motion.
So moved.
Second.
Aye.